Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. When most people think of improv comedy, they automatically think of just play. They think of a bunch of people who just spontaneously know how to walk up onto a stage and just be funny. But actually, improv comedy is a skill that can be practiced and taught and mastered by anybody. It has a very clear set of rules, and if you apply these rules, not only on the stage of a comedy club, or in my case, in my onstage classroom, if you apply these rules to your life or to your workplace, you will find that you can have a much more in-the-flow, spontaneous, and inspired life. Now, when I ask my freshman students what is the first rule of improv, on the very first day, they will invariably say, don't say no. And that's partly right. That's definitely part of it. But it's actually saying yes, which sounds like a very, very small difference. But the act of even just turning your language from the negative to the positive is a step in that direction for more inspiration. So, no, yes is partly the answer, but actually, rule number one for improv is yes and. The and is the agitator. The and is what gets the story going. The and is what launches the entire thing. The most exciting moment of any improv is right before it starts. Because right before it starts, anything can happen. You could be about to start a scene that takes place at the circus, or under the sea, or starring this guy. Anything can happen. And that state of expectancy, imagine applying that to walking into your Monday morning staff meeting, or looking at the cursor in front of you on an open Word document. If you believe that anything can happen in that moment, and if you feel that sense of confidence that what could happen could be awesome, that optimism is the agitator. How often when we see a new idea do we immediately say, nope, or yes, but? But stops the flow immediately. Yes, and keeps everything going and flowing. Imagine now applying that yes, and to your friendships. How often are you the friend who makes the plans and picks the restaurant and says what time to be there? How much do you enjoy the friend who says yes, and then afterwards I know this great coffee shop that's right around the corner? Oh, that and takes some of the pressure off of you, doesn't it? And it inspires confidence in the other people that you're going to do your part. Because in an improv, everyone has to do their part. Okay, rule number 2 for improv is to listen in the moment. When you are in an improv situation, you can't zone out, and you can't be trying to solve the problem that you think might happen 3 beats from now. And you can't worry or pre-rehearse everything that could possibly go wrong, because if you do, you have no idea where you are in the story. You have to listen in the moment and be completely present. And it's very hard to do with our modern technology, right? I mean, I'm seeing a couple glowing blue laps out there. It's very hard to tear yourself away from what you're used to. I went to a movie yesterday, I couldn't even make it through the whole thing without peeking at my text messages under my sweater. It's very hard to do because we're out of the practice of it. But imagine applying that idea of listening and being fully present in the moment to your parenting. When your kid goes off and tells you all of the rules of Minecraft, imagine actually listening instead of just letting it fly in one ear and out the other. And imagine how much more appreciated your spouse or your partner would feel if when you're talking about the plans for the upcoming weekend, you're truly listening instead of thumbing through Facebook on your phone. It's a gift to listen in the moment, to be completely present. It's a gift that you give to yourself and to other people. Because if you don't, how can you create and innovate anything? You can only create in the moment that you're in. You can have the most wonderful idea for the great American novel, but if you don't pick up the pen and sit and shut everything else away, that's never going to be created. You need that present, that sense of being completely there and completely connected to what you're talking about. It also activates your intuition when you are present in the moment, because you trust yourself, you trust your scene partner to make things happen. Okay, so that's rule number 2. Rule number 3 is the hardest, but it's also the most important. Rule number 3 is to be flexible and to allow for what is actually happening instead of pushing your own agenda. So in an improv setting, you may have the best idea ever for this country bumpkin character in a fancy hotel lobby. But if your scene partner walks in and starts looking for his contact lens in zero gravity, well, you are in space. And there's nothing you can do about it except affirm that decision and add to it with your and move through the story with your partner as you need for them to move through with you. And you know what? Your bellhop idea might have been better, but it doesn't matter because that moment is gone. And this moment is the one that you are in. And everything is transient, really, even the things that feel the most crucial. If you're up and doing an improv that's going badly, it feels like the most important thing ever because you have an audience that's watching you. But in life, you actually always have an audience that's watching you. You have your boss or you have your colleagues. I have my students. I'm raising teenage daughters. I don't know if any of you have teenagers. They miss nothing. You're always on. You're always being watched. And in improv, you can't stop and go, oh, yeah, that space thing totally didn't work. We hate that. We're going to just start over because your audience is going to walk out the door. But in life, you also can't ever start over. You only ever evolve. You're only ever on the road where you are from where you've been to where you're going. You're always the sum of your experiences, and you never can start over. And if you cling stubbornly to that hotel lobby, the bellhop, it was the best idea ever, you miss whatever bend in the road might happen. You miss whatever brilliant moment in space could have occurred. Sometimes things in an improv or sometimes things in life don't go the way that they're supposed to. You're not supposed to offend the client or leave the flash drive in the taxi or knock over the wedding cake. But those things, those plot twists happen. And no matter what, you always have a decision of what to do next. You are always in control of the and. And there's never only one right way to go. Now, I teach freshman boys, so always, inevitably, when we do improv, there's always a scene with a nearsighted gynecologist. Obsessed, freshman boys. But just because someone comes in with that same old worn idea that they think is super duper funny, even though it's been done a million times, you don't have to automatically put your feet up in the imaginary stirrups and go with that. You can decide to be the hard of hearing nurse's assistant, or you can be the first day on the job candy striper, or the oblivious janitor. You have you have an option. And the more you do it, the more you're present in the moment and you wait for those options to come, the more you trust yourself that they will always come. You will always find a new road. The more you practice this, the more you practice it, the more fun life becomes. Saying yes and really listening in the moment. Plot twist, I forgot to move my slides. The more fun you have and the more fun you are to be with, the more your colleagues trust you and the more you can make happen together. And with that philosophy, with that way of looking about life, it's not scary, it's play. Thank you so much.